Welcome to the lecture number 3 of GE103. From today, we'll start the basic introduction of programming, but not C programming. Before starting any programming, there is a concept that you must understand. If you understand this concept, then it will be very easy for you to write any programming in any language. Maybe it is C, C++, or anything. That concept is called flowchart. So if you can design a flowchart efficiently, then it will be very easy to convert this flowchart to C programming. So first, in today's lecture, we'll try to and understand how to design a flowchart for a given problem statement. So this is the first problem statement given here, and it is saying that write a program to add two numbers a and v. So using your computer, you have to add two numbers a and b and display the result the same as you were doing by your calculator. If you have a calculator, then if I say that add two numbers, then you can first of all you will apply first number. Suppose you want to add a number 25 and 30, then first of all you will apply type 25, then you will go press plus command, then you will type 30, and then you will press equal to sign. Then the result will be there in your screen. So I am expecting the same type of result from a computer, that you will supply two values a and b. Computer should add it for you and display the result to you. So how you have to write a program for this. And if you remember from in my first lecture, I explained you that program is a set of commands. So that means that you have to supply a set of commands one by one to the computer to perform your tasks. Computer has no brain. You have to supply each and every command. So first flowchart, the first point here will be start. So it is written here. From here, the your program will start. Next is read the value of a and b. So as same as in calculator, you have to supply the values of two values, right? 25 and 30. That you have to supply. Then only calculator can calculate the summation. Same here in computer, the values of a variable a and variable b you have to supply. So suppose here you have supplied these two values to computer, and then the next step is adding these two values. So here the computer will add a and b for you, and it will store the result in another variable called r. Okay, so this execution is performed in CPU. And if you remember my last class, I've explained you a concept called ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit. So it is the responsibility of arithmetic logic unit to perform this addition operation and store the result back into a variable called r. Okay, so now your addition is performed and your final result is stored in variable r. The next requirement is, this value should display for you, then what is the final value. So this will be done by output r. Assume that output r means the value of r will be display for you, and then the program ends. So these are the set of instruction or set of commands you have to give to the computer to perform this task. First it will start here, start step. Then you have to supply. Next is reading the value of a and reading the value of b. Then the main part, adding the value of a and b and store the result in r. Okay, and next it will display the value of r for you, and then it is end. So this is how this program will should execute. Okay, so let me execute one C program for you, that the same flowchart I have converted into a C program. And let me just show you how this program will execute. Don't worry about the syntax and all. Means what I have written here is not important now. I'll explain it from next class, that how to write a C program. Today I'll only concentrate on flowchart. But suppose this program is exactly doing the same thing what I have explained in my flowchart, in flowchart. So let us run this code. If I run this code here, so it is saying here enter the value of a. So suppose the value of a is 20. Now it will say enter the value of b. So I'll enter suppose 30. So the value of a is 20, value of b is 30. So read part is done. After reading part, next part is execution. The moment I press enter, computer will automatically do execution, and then it will print the value for me. See, I press enter, then it is automatically showing the result is 50. So 20 plus 30, it is 50. So It is same as written in flowchart. Flowchart, it program is starting here, then you have to read the values of A and B. I am supplying the values here. These values, that is 20 and 30, I am supplying. This is part of A and B, and then this part R equal to A plus B. It is automatically executed. This is written here, R equal to A plus B. So after you supply the both value 20 and 30, this line will be execute. That is R equal to A plus B. So result is, if A is 20, B is 30. So result of A plus B will be 50. So 50 is stored in R. So the next step is output R. So output R means you have to print the value of R so that you can display the value of R. So it is displaying the value of R. The result is 50. So this is how, if you can write is a flow chart like this for any program, then it is very easy for you to understand that how to write a corresponding C program for this flow chart. So this is a very fast, a very important step to know how to write a flow chart. Okay, so let me give you another question, that write a program to calculate the simple interest, and you have to, first of all, you have to design a flowchart for this. So calculating simple interest need three things, right? Principal amount, then time or the number of years, and then the rate of interest. So if these three things are required, so if we go for the flowchart, will start from here, then start, and the next step will be read all the values, P for principal amount, and T for time, and R for rate. All these things we have to supply to the computer, and the next step will be the command that we have to give to computer, that how to calculate the simple interest. We know the formula, right? This is the formula to calculate the simple interest, PTR divided by 100. This will calculate the simple interest, and we are storing this simple interest, a calculated simple interest value, in a variable called I. Okay, and the next is we need to display the value I, that is output I. That's it, the program completed. So now let me write this program for you. Here I'll just change the variables here to display this program. So here in this program, it is say it need three variables, P, T, and R. So P, T, R, and we need to store the final result into a variable called I. So P, T, R, I. Enter the value of P, that is principal amount. Enter the value of T, that is the time, this is number of year. And then maybe we need one more printf, so just copy this line, and enter the value of R. Okay, so this will be again P. Don't worry about the syntax, I'll explain it later. That is T, and this is R. Okay, so this will be I equal to P into R, P into T into R divided by 100. Okay, and the result is I. Okay, so I think I have written the program successfully. This flowchart I have converted there into a program. So what is written here, first of all, we have to supply the value of P, T, and R to the computer, and then computer will calculate this simple interest using this formula, and then finally it will output the simple interest. Okay, so what we are doing, these lines, these are the variables we have to use here. So P, you have to define it here in C. Then first of all, in these two lines we are supplying the value of P, then next two line we are supplying the values of T, and then by these two lines we are supplying the values of R to the computer. So let's see, just run this program. First of all, I'm clearing this, and now let's run this program. So it is saying enter the value of P. Suppose the principal amount is 200. Okay, it is not, it should be written here 200. Okay, time is suppose 2 years, and rate of interest is suppose 10%. So once I supply all this thing, then the moment I press enter, it will execute and it will display. Okay, so result is 40. So this is the interest. So if you are for by 10% interest rate, the simple interest of 200 rupees after 2 year will be 40 rupees. So this program is exactly same whatever it is, whatever written in this flow chart. So don't worry about how to write programming. Today's lecture is not to understand how to write a program. If anything here is not clear to you, perfectly normal, no problem. From tomorrow onwards, I'll try to explain you how to write a program, where to write a program. Don't worry about these windows and anything where I am writing a black screen QRI, all these things. I'll explain you everything, that where to write a program, how to execute a program, everything. So my today's class is mainly based on flowchart. You should be able to write this type of flowchart after today's class. Okay, so in these two flowchart, if you observe properly, you can see there are two three types, different types of shapes. You can see this is one type of shape, start and end. These are oval shape. Then you will see this type of shape. Okay, so reading variables. So all reading variables you have to write in this type of shape. And then you will go for a rectangular shape. Rectangular shape is normally written for all the processing tasks, like whatever formula and whatever formula you will write, these type of things should be in a rectangular kind of box. So here it is also rectangular, here it is also rectangular. And output is again diamond shape, output is again this shape. Okay, so you should remember the different kind of shapes that need to be used when we design a flowchart. So remember it, because I may ask some question like this in exam. So now the next question is, write a program to print the maximum of two numbers. Okay. So now the question is, if I give you two numbers, suppose A and B, and I say A is 50, B is 100, then you can easily compare that which one is bigger. And you will say, sir, B is the bigger one because B is 100, A is 50. If I say that no, A is 50, B is 10, then which one is the maximum? You can easily say, sir, A, because A is 50, B is 10. That means what you are doing actually, in your mind you are comparing these two number, ki A is greater than B or not. If A is greater than B, you are saying, sir, the A is bigger. If A is not greater than B, then you are saying, sir, B is bigger. This calculation you are doing in your mind, and then only you are saying me which one is maximum. Same thing you have to apply here. So let us write a flowchart for this. Start program, start ho gaya yahan se. And then next, read AB. First of all, you have to read the values of A and B, and then you have to compare. So see, there is a different shape. This is a diamond shape here. This shape is required when you want to compare two variables. In when you want to compare two variables in flowchart, we have to use this type of shape. So here this shape has, it is saying that A equal to, it is always a question. It is always a question, and output should be, answer should be either yes or no. Okay, so if A is greater than B, if result is yes, okay, then which one is bigger? I have given you two numbers A and B, and now I have asked you a question: A is greater than B or not? If the result is yes, correct result is yes, then it means that A is the bigger number. So you will print A here, output A. But if A is not bigger than B, okay, if A is not bigger than B, then we'll go this side, no. And if A is not bigger than B, then we'll print B, because B is the larger number, and we'll end the program. So you can see here, if we compare this flowchart with the previous flowchart was straight line. Okay, here up from your program started here. Okay, your program started here, then you read the value of A and B, and after this you came here, and now you have to compare A and B. After comparing A and B, depending on the result, you will either go through this path or you go to this path. And after exit, so both will not execute, output A or output B. From these two, only one will execute. If you follow this path, then A will output. If you follow this path, B will output, and then program will finish. So let us explain it with some example. Assume that A is 30, B is 50. Okay, program start ho gaya yahan se. Then here you will read the values of A and B. Suppose we have supplied 30 for A and B is 50. Okay, remember it, A 30, B 50. Now will come in this step. यहाँ पे you have to compare A greater than B or not. What is your answer? What do you think? A is 30, B is 50. So what is this question is asking? A greater than B. Do you think A greater than B? Answer will be yes or no? Answer will be no, because A is 30, B is 50. So A greater than B, this statement, answer will be no, because it is not true. This is false. So result will be here. So if we go this line, then which value will print? Will print the value of 50, which is the maximum one, and then end the program. So in this way you can compare two variables. Now if we reverse it, suppose a is 50 and b is 30, then we'll start read a 50 b 30, then a greater than b. Yes, if a is 30 b is a is 50 and b is 30, then result will be yes. Then we'll come here, we'll output the value of a and then we'll end this program. Okay, now let us write this same program in C. थोड़ा इसको change करते हैं. Now we need two values only, a and v. Okay, the next step is read a and v. So enter the value of a. Okay, here I am giving the value of a. Enter the value of b. I am giving the value of b. Then here there is only two variables, so this is not required. Now this part is done in programming. Now we have to implement this part in programming. So to implement this part, this type of diamond shape logic in C programming, we have to use a statement called if. We'll write if a greater than b in okay, if a greater than b, then what? If a greater than b, then it will follow yes path, output a. So here we'll write printf is for output. Printf the max number is %d. Don't worry about the syntax, I will explain it again. The max number is a. I'll print a. And again, if it is not going this path, then we'll go this path. This part is actually else part, else. Else, just copy this line, paste here. In that case, we'll print b. Okay, program is done. This is not required. Okay, program done. So if you see the program and if you try to relate this program with flowchart, you have to use two variables a and b here. Though I have used two variable a and b, then I have to go for supplying reading the value of a and b. So these four lines is just for supplying the values of a and b, that will supply through keyboard. You can also supply it directly, but here I am supplying through keyboard. So we are reading the value of a and b here. After reading the value of a and b, the next is we have to compare these two variable a greater than b or not. So if a greater than b, if a greater than b, then we have to follow this path. So when we'll write in C, we'll write if a greater than b. If it is true, then we'll execute it here. Whatever is written here, this part is same as this part. So if a greater than b, we have to do here, we have to write here output a. So here we have written output a. But if a is not greater than b, then we'll follow this path and we'll have to write output b. This is actually this part, else part. So else part is no part actually of flowchart. So here we'll write max number is b. So basically we are supplying the value of a and b, and if a greater than b, then we are printing the value of a is maximum. If a is not greater than b, then we are printing the value of b as maximum. हो गया program. So now clear and run this code. If I run this code, it is saying supply two values. I will supply same 30 and 50. 30 for 30 for a, and enter the value of b is 50. Then the moment I press enter, it will execute these lines. And when it will execute this line, what it will print? It will only print one line, na? So which line it will print? Which one is maximum, a or b? B is maximum, so it should print this line. The max number is b. This is max number is 50. See, it is printing the max number is 50. So it means that if you can write this type of flowchart, then you can easily convert this flowchart into a C program like this. So try to write this type of flowchart. So what is new in this flowchart as compared to the flowchart that I explained in previous slide? Just go to the previous slide. Here everything is straight line. After start, this will execute, and after this part will execute, and after this part output will execute, and then end. But if you compare this program, there are some branch, and not every branch will execute every time. After, based on this condition, either this branch will execute or this branch will execute. This is called branching in terms of programming language. And The way I have written here if statement is called branching, means after this if statement either this will execute or this will execute, लेकिन दोनों execute नहीं होंगे. Okay, you have to understand this. Now let me go for another example. This example is a little bit complex, but again easy. What it is saying that I am giving you three numbers A, B, and C, and you have to print out the maximum value. यहाँ पे क्या था? There was only two values A, B, but now instead of A, B, I am giving you three values A, B, C, and you have to find out the maximum one. How to find it out? Okay, so now suppose here if I change these values A, B, and there is another value called C here, C is 100. How you will compare that? अगर यहाँ पे value is like 30, 50, and 100, then obviously 100 is the maximum one, right? But how you are calculating it? In your brain, what you are doing? First of all, you are comparing A and B, and you are finding which one is maximum. A and B से कौन maximum है? B is maximum 50. Okay, and now after finalizing that from A and B, which one is maximum? B is maximum. Then we'll compare B with C, and C is 100. So B and C, B 50, C 100. Which one is maximum? C is maximum. So your answer will be, sir, C is maximum. Right? The same logic you have to apply and create a flowchart here. First step is very simple. Start and then read the values of A, B, and C. And the next step is you have to compare any two values first. Suppose I am comparing A and B first. If A greater than B, then I'll go to yes part. This part means, this yes part means A is greater than B. If A is greater than B, can we say A is maximum? No, right? Because from A and B, A is maximum, that is clear. But it is not yet clear that A is bigger than C or not, isn't it? So if you are following this path, then it means that A is bigger. So now you have to compare A with C. Or if you are following this path, it means that B is greater than A, because if this statement is false, A is not greater than B, it means that B is greater than A. If B is greater than A, you are following this path. So here, can you say B is the maximum? No. If you follow this path, then B is maximum between A and B. So to decide whether B is maximum, we have to compare B with C again. So basically the same. Here also, if you go, so we'll follow this path. So this path means A is bigger, so we have to compare A with C. If A is bigger than C, then we can say A is maximum, because why? Here we have compared A and B, and A was maximum. Now here we compare A and C, so A is again maximum. So this means that A is bigger than B as well as C. So A is maximum, will output A. But here in this case, in no means A is not greater than C. It, so what does it mean? We first of all, here we found that A is greater than B, then we follow this path. Following this path means A is greater than B. So A was greater than B, but A is not greater than C. So which one is the greater? C is the maximum, right? So we'll print C here. Same if we follow this path here. If we follow this path, then here it means that A greater than B is false. A greater than B false means B is maximum among A and B. So, but we don't know about whether B is maximum among B and C or not. So here we'll compare B greater than C or not. If B greater than C, then obviously B is the maximum among all three. So we'll output B. But if here B is not greater than C, it means that C will be maximum again. Why? Because here A greater than B is false. That means B was greater among A and B. So A का तो कोई chance ही नहीं है, because A is greater than B. Sorry, B is greater than A. So we follow this path. As so this path following means B is greater than A. And now here, when we compare this, if we found that B is less than C, that means C is maximum. So we have to print C and then end. So if you follow this flow chart, there are four possible paths here, and your program will only follow only one path at a time. First of all, it will go start, read, it will compare, either it will go here, and then either it will go here and it will print this, or sometime it will go here, it will print, then maybe it will go here, or based on this comparison, it will come here and output C. So let us consider some example. If we go for 30, 50, and 40, which one is maximum? Easily you can say, sir, B is maximum because B is 50. But internally, how you are doing it, or how a computer can do it, Okay, so step by step we have to do it. First of all, we will supply all these values a, b and c here. Okay, now the first comparison, a greater than b or not. A greater than b or not, yes or no? A is 30, b is 50. A is greater than b, no. So this means we have to follow this path. As I said just previously, that either will follow only one path. So we'll follow this path because a is not greater than b. We'll follow this path. Now in this path, here we are consider checking b is greater than c or not. Check here, b is 50, c is 40. So b is greater than c or not? Yes, b is greater than c. So which path will follow from here? We'll follow this path. If we follow this path, then which value we are printing? You are outputting 50. Is it a correct value? Yes, it is a correct value. What we want to print? We want to print the maximum of these three. So the maximum is 50. We are printing 50. Okay, right? So we'll print this and we'll end here. That's why I said in my just a few minutes before that, from here we'll only follow one path. So for this particular example, what we follow, we started here, we read this, we compare this, then we came here, then after this we compare b and c, and then we came here, we output the value of b, and then it is end. It means again there are many branches possible, but based on these values, we'll only follow one particular branch, right? So instead of this, suppose the value of C is 400. Remember this, I will not write it here. So assume that the value of C is 400 and everything else is same. Then which one is the maximum one? C is the maximum one, right? So now let us check again. Start, value of A is 30, 50, and we have supplied the value of C as 400. So if we compare A and B, which one is greater? B is greater. So this statement is false. So it is no. We'll follow the no path, will come here. B is greater than C or not? B is 50, C is 400. So B greater than C is a false statement. So we'll follow the no path. We'll follow no path and we'll output C. What is the value of C now? C is 400. So 400 will be displayed. Again correct, because we need to display the maximum value. So this is how we have to write a flow chart. So if you know a flow chart, you can easily convert it to a C program. Again, let us write this code in C. So here there are three values, a, b and c. Okay, so just copy this last two lines to get the values of c. Enter the value of c. Okay, now we'll implement this. If a greater than b, if a greater than b, so if yes, then we'll go and again check if a greater than c or not. So inside we'll write a greater than c. If a greater than c, then we'll print maximum is a. Okay, if a greater than c, we'll print maximum is a. Or if this statement is false, then we have to print c. Else, इसको copy करो. Okay, we'll print c. Done. This part is done. Now this part, if a greater than b is false, then we'll come here, and then again we'll compare if b greater than c or not. Okay, and if b greater than c, then we'll print this. If b greater than c, then we have to output b. Okay, maximum number is b. Okay, else you have to print c. Okay, done. Code is finished. So if we see, a diamond rectangle can be represented in a programming language by if statement. So here under this diamond rectangle there is another diamond. So that's why here inside this if statement we have written another if statement to implement this part. And the same as for right side of this condition also. Right side of this condition is also another condition. So in else part also we have written this condition, this b greater than c. So now if I clear Let's run this code. Okay, enter the value of a. We'll supply these values 30, 50, 40. 30, 50, 40. Which one it should print? It should print 50. See, it is printing 50. So first of all, we are supplying 30, 40, 50 here. Then it is going for a, comparing a greater than b or not. It is false. A is not greater than b. A is 30, b is 50. So it will not execute all these. It will directly come here and it will again compare if b greater than c or not. Yeah. So now b is 50 and c is 40. So yes, b is greater than 40, so it will print the value of b. The max number is, so it will print this line. So this is how you can convert a flow chart into a C program. Okay, so try to write a proper flow chart and then try to convert it into a C program in the initial stage. In the initial stage when you are learning programming, it is very easy to learn C programming. So instead of thinking, suppose you directly came here and you try to write a code here to display the maximum one, maybe you will find difficulty. But if you have designed this type of flowchart early and trying to convert this flowchart into this program, then it will be easy for you. Okay, this I have already explained. So now so in this slide we'll try to understand some more flowchart, which is multiplication of two numbers. So flowchart is already there. So assume that you have two values a and b, and you have to multiply a and a with b. Okay, multiplying a and b, and you have to output the result. But as we have to consider one assumption, that you cannot apply multiplication operator. You have to use only addition operator to do the multiplication. Okay, so it means that if you want to do a multiply b without using multiplication operator, then what you have to do, you have to add a b number of times, isn't it? Suppose you have this suppose you want to multiply 5 by 2, 5 into 2, you want to do 5 into 2, but without using multiplication operator. That means you have to add 5 two times. 5 plus 5, which is 10. Suppose if you want to multiply 5 with 3, 5 into 3, which is 15, but I said no, don't use multiplication operator. Then how you will perform this multiplication? You can add 5 three times. 5 plus 5 plus 5, it is 15. The same thing I'm doing here. I'm assuming that I have given you a question that write a program in C to multiply A and B without using multiplication operator. So now if we want to multiply A with B, and we assume that B is always 2. If B is always 2, it means that we are multiplying A with 2. If a value of A is 25, then we are multiplying it by 2. If value of A is 40, we are multiplying it by 2, like this. So if this is the flow chart, and assume that B is 2, and also assume that A is 25. So if you assume A is 25, then how you multiply 25 with 2 using this computer, using this flow chart? So we'll start from this point r equal to 0. So suppose r is another variable, and we are assuming that initial value of r is 0. Okay, r is 0. So now here we are writing r equal to r plus a. What is the value of a? A is 25. What is the value, current value of R? R is 0. So 0 plus 25 is 25. So we are storing 25 into R. So now the new value of R is 25. Then go to next step. Here again you have written R equal to R plus A. What is the current value of R? Current value of R is 25 plus A. What is the value of A? Value of A is also 25. So 25 plus 25 is 50. So we will print 50. So there should be a statement here called output R, which is not here. It should be here. So output R, which will output 50, and then your program will end. Okay. So now let me go for B equal to 3. Let me go for B equal to 3. It means that whatever the value of A, you have to multiply it by 3, because value of b is 3. How we will do it without multiplication operator? It means that you have to add a 3 times. Here we add a 2 times. You have to, now here we have to add 3 times. Okay, and we'll store the result in another variable called r. So again we'll assume that value of a is 25. Remember this, value of a is 25 and value of b is 3. So we have to add a 3 times for multiplying it to 3. And there is another variable here which value is 0. R equal to 0 means value of r is 0. Now next step is r equal to r plus a. What will be the value of r after this line? After this line, What is the current value of R? Current value of R is 0. What is the value of A? 25. 0 plus 25 is 25. So we'll store 25 in R. So remember that after this line, the current value of R will be 25. Next line here, R equal to R plus A. What is the current value of R? R is 25. What is the value of A? 25. 20 plus 5 plus 25 is 50. So now 50 will be stored in R. That means the value of R is modified, and after this line the current value of R will be 50. Okay, next line here again, what is the current value of R? 50 plus A. What is the value of A? 25. So 50 plus 25 is 75. So 75 will be stored in R. Then next line, there should be a line here, there should be a symbol here to output the value of R. So if there is a symbol here to display the value of R, that is output R, what value it will display? Current value of R is 75, so it will display 75, which we are expecting, because I said the value of A is 75 and the value of B is written here 3. So 20, value of A is 25 and B is 3. So 25 into 3 is 75, isn't it? So we are expecting that this flowchart should output the value of R as 75. And it is if you follow this, after all these steps, the value of R will be 75. So if you output the value of R, it will display 75, right? So this is how you can uh, write a flowchart and you can multiply it. Actually, in this flowchart we are adding A 3 number of times. Here we are adding A 2 number of times, but in a little indirect way, because we are using another variable called R to store the results. If it is B equal to 4, if B equal to 4, then we are, if we want to multiply any number with 4, then we have to add the same number 4 number of times. So here you can see that A is adding here 4 number of times. I'm not explaining it, you try to explain understand it by yourself. But it is not fixed now. Suppose here what we are saying, multiply A with 4, multiply A with B, multiply A with 3. Here we are saying multiply A with 2. So here in this flowchart B is always fixed. In this flowchart also B is always fixed at 3. In this flowchart B is always fixed at 4. What about if B is also not fixed? Means I can say they multiply any number A and B. A is 50, B is 60. This is also possible, right? This is also possible. But how you can write a flowchart for this? Means if I say that you have to multiply A with B, it means that you have to add A B number of times, isn't it? You have to add A B number of times. So this is another kind of flowchart which you can use for any value of B, like any value of B. Initial value is R, then you will write R, initial value of R is 0, then you will write R equal to R plus A. So this means that you are adding A for the first time, okay, and then you are and how many time you have to add A B number of time. So one time done, so B equal to B minus 1. Now you compare, if B equal to 0, if B not equal to 0, you go again and perform the same task here, okay. But if B equal to 0, come out, print the value of it should be R, it should be R. So print the value of R and then end. Remember, this value is R, this value is R, okay. So how it is performing the multiplication? Suppose A is again 25 and B is 3. Suppose 25 and 3, so what should be the value should be 75. Let us check how it is printing 75. Initial value of R is 0, initial value of R is 0. Now we'll come here, R equal to R plus A. So what will be the value of R after this? Initial value of R is 0, 0 plus 25, 25. So now current value of R is 25. What is the current value of B? B is 3. So B equal to B minus 1. That means after this line B will be 2. Okay. Now we'll come here and check. B is 0. No, B is 2. B is not 0. Then we'll again follow this line and we'll again go here. And again we'll perform this R equal to R plus 1. What is the recent value of R? Recent value of R is 25. So 25 plus 25, R is 50. And now R is 50. And now we'll go here B. What is the current value of B? B is 2. So now B equal to B minus 1. That is 2 minus 1. That is now new value of B will be 1. And we'll again come here and we'll check whether B is 0. No, b is 1, b is not 0, then again we'll follow this path. We'll go again here and again we'll perform this r equal to r plus a. Now the recent value of r is 50. 50 plus 25 is 75, so r will store 75. And then now what is the new value of b? Current value of b is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0. So current value of new value of b will be 0. Then we'll come here. If b is 0, yes, now b is 0. So if yes, b is 0 now, then we'll follow this path and we'll come here. And as I said, it should be output r. So what is the current value of r? Current value of r is 75. So we'll print 75 here and then stop the program. So it means that we say that a was 25 and b was 3. It means that a should be added 3 times. A should be added 3 times for multiplying a with 3, right? So here because value of a is 25, value of b is 3, so here what we are doing, that we are adding a b number of times. I'm not explaining it in much detail, but please try to understand this code, this flowchart with some real values. You can take a equal to 20, b equal to 4. You can take a equal to 10, b equal to 5, and then try to understand this flowchart. You will easily understand what I have written here, and you can see this part is repeating again and again. In this example, what the example that I have just explained here, this part is repeating 3 times. This is called loop. This is called loop. And if you remember from your previous semester, this is called loop. And how many kind of loop we write? For loop, while loop, do loop, all these are the loop in C programming. So this part, if we want to convert this part in C, then we'll write some for loop in C programming. So I'm not explaining all these things today, because but this is called a generic way, generic model of writing. Instead of all these things, instead of writing all these three flowchart, you can write this flowchart. This is a generic model, and you can apply some loop here. See, here you need to repeat it 2 times, here you need to repeat it for 3 times, here you need to repeat it for 4 times. But here, if you apply this type of logic, then you can repeat it any number of time whatever is required. That is, you have to repeat it for b number of times. I hope this flowchart is clear. If anything is not clear, let me know. You can mail me, or you can also raise your question in Google Classroom. So I'm stopping here. From next class, I'll explain you how to write C programming and which are the platform available for you to write your codes, and how we'll experiment, how we'll conduct the lab exam and all that I will explain in next class. So I'm stopping this class here. Thank you.